Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Skinny on Carbs. My name is Andrea, and on this channel, I try to use my background in biology, histopathology, and naturopathic medicine to help you guys live the life that you dream of and deserve. Okay, so just so you guys know, I am active on Patreon. I have put up the part one and part two to the foundational course in weight loss and eternal youth. Also, I believe it's the anti-aging mini masterclass is up there. I believe it's a 4-part video. I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's a 4-part video. The foundational course for weight loss and staying youthful is a 4-part video as well. I've put up part one, part two, and part three is going to go up after I'm done with this video. So you can join me over on the Patreon. You can find me, that's my 20-year-old. You can find me on Patreon, a Skinny on Carbs. It's patreon.com backslash skinny on carbs. Okay. And it's just $12.99 per month. It's the only way I can find where I can help as many people as I possibly can, because I am getting so many requests in my DMs on Facebook. I get them on Facebook quite a bit. Right. And so I'm getting a lot of requests and so I'm not going to be answering questions via DM anymore. Okay. I have too many things to do. I'm a stay at home with my kids. I have 4 kids and I homeschool them. So this is the only way I can really truly dig a little bit deeper with you guys. So you can join my group coaching over there. I am going to be posting the foundational courses. Like I said, I'll be going live once a week. So I'll be doing Sunday lives over there, and I'll try to get to as many people's questions as I possibly can. The lives are going to be via Zoom. So what I'll do is on Saturday evenings, I'll post the link to the Zoom, and you can join me that way. You can go to the Patreon and you can get the link for the Zoom, and it's only going to be available for the paid members. Okay. So there you have it, $12.99. I don't know anybody that's that cheap. Okay. Because I just want to help you guys, right? I just want to help you guys. $12.99. That's cheaper than Netflix. And you guys are going to be picking my brain. If you guys pick my brain as much as you do on the DMs, then oh my goodness. But I'm going to try as much as I possibly can. Okay, so let's get to it. How do I prioritize my food choices in order to stay skinny on carbs? Now, I just want you guys to know that being skinny on carbs is not like some unicorn. It's the norm, okay? When you choose the right fuel source for your mitochondria, meaning when you give the mitochondria its preferred fuel source, within other contexts, within the context of certain things, you will manage your weight effortlessly. Okay. Now, I don't know about body composition, right? Body composition is more of a training feat. It's a feat of training. But in terms of your weight management, you can easily do that with just nutrition alone. Okay. So, how do I prioritize my food choices? So, for me, I'm going to give you guys the 3 things that I look at when it comes to choosing foods. And I don't even have to think about it anymore because it's just like natural to me. But it's when I think about it, that's what it was back in the day. And it still is this way. Okay, so what's the first one? The first one is I look at ease of digestion. I've said this over and over and over again. I look at ease of digestion, okay? And so what determines if a food is going to be easy to digest? For me, it's very simple. If I have to cook the food in order to eat it, it means it's not an easy to digest food. For instance, beans are not an easy to digest food. I have to cook the bean in order to eat it. On the other hand, lettuce does not require cooking in order to eat it, which means I can easily digest that, okay? The reason you cook foods, the only reason you cook foods, is so that you can eat a food that you otherwise would not be able to digest. You would not be able to eat that food if you didn't cook it. All right. Now, there are foods that we cook that don't require cooking, okay, such as fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables really don't require cooking. However, we cook it anyways. Now, those foods, like I said, don't require cooking. That's a choice. However, there are some foods where if you don't cook them, you cannot eat them. You can't digest them. Beans is such an example. Okay, so beans are not an easy to digest food. It's not at the top of my list. Okay, it's not a priority for me to eat a bean. It is a priority, however, for me to eat fruit. Fruits are easily digestible, especially if they're sweet and juicy. It doesn't require cooking. That means that I have the physiology. It means that I am physiologically able to handle that food. Now, are you adapted to handle that food is a different question, okay? Because that's different from what you're physiologically able to handle. Meaning, so when I say, are you adapted to handle the food, what I'm saying is, for instance, do you have the microbiome to handle the fibers that are coming in? That's a discussion for a different video. However, you are physiologically able to handle that food. You don't have to cook it in order to eat it, okay? And I'm not talking about the clinical anomalies that have allergies to certain fresh fruits and vegetables if they don't cook them. These are usually clinical situations, okay? They're not the norm. They're not the normal physiological situations. All right, so that's my priority number one when I'm prioritizing certain food choices, okay, is do I have to cook it to eat it? If I have to cook it to eat it, it's not a priority for me to eat. Now, do I exclude things that require cooking to eat? For the most part, yes, with some exceptions. Do I eat beans? I do eat beans, but I don't eat them very often, right? I do eat some vegetables that they don't require cooking, but they go down a little bit easier if I cook them, right? This is not an everyday thing. It's not often. It's not a lot. It's a very low percentage of my caloric intake, so maybe around 5% because my priority are fruits and vegetables or plant foods, and they're not very high in terms of their calorie count, so they really don't account for much of my caloric intake. Okay, so that's how I prioritize. That's food choice number one. All right, food choice number two is going to be the water content. Is it a water rich food? That is very important for me. We underestimate okay, the digestive process is something that we really don't talk about a lot. I do over here on Skinny on Carbs, right? I talk about how ease of digestion is very important when it comes to weight management. Now, choice number two, which is going to be water content, feeds into choice number one, which is going to be ease of digestion. Okay. Now, let's go back to choice number one, where we're talking about if I have to cook a food, it means that it's not going to be it's not an easily digestible food. When you cook a food, usually you are taking the water out of the food. So when you cook your fruits, let's say you bake a fruit to put in a pie, or let's say you cook a greens, like you cook your, let's say, spinach. When you cook spinach, you put it down into the pan and you cook it. The first thing that happens is the water comes right out, right? And you could see it. Either it's going to be evaporating as steam, or it's going to, settle at the bottom of the pan. It comes right out. The water comes out. Now, when you are digesting foods, water is needed for the digestion process, okay? And so if you cook the water out of the food, what's going to happen is when the bolus is going through your digestive system, it's going to take water from somewhere else, okay, um, in order to digest the food. So you need water in order to be able to move the food through the digestive tract. You need to have water. And if the water isn't in the food, it's going to come out of some other bodily system. Okay. So having water, living water in my food is one of my priorities when I'm making food choices. Okay. I don't eat dried foods. The only dried food I eat really might be a dried fruit, which is date. I don't like dried fruits in general, but I do have dates every now and again. I can count on my hand how many times a month I have dates, right? So I am usually choosing foods that are water rich, and in some instances, I'm adding water to my food. In some instances, many instances, daily, on a daily basis, I'm extracting the water from the food and I'm drinking that only. So when I say I'm extracting the water, what I'm really saying is I'm juicing, okay? So a lot of times I am juicing. You know, I drink minimum 72 or so ounces per day of juice. All right. So the water content is pretty important to me. Water. We are like 60% water. We're water beings. I mean, other than being an electric being, in order to be an electric being, you need to have water. Okay. So water is so important. I cannot understate that. So water is important to my food choices. So I pick juicy foods that have water content. My food choices usually are no less than 80% water. Okay. Fruits and vegetables are mainly water. All right. So that's food choice number 2 when I'm prioritizing my foods. What's the priority for food choice number 3? Priority for food choice number 3 is going to be the fiber content. Okay. And that goes hand in hand with food choice number 1 and food choice number 2, where I've said to you it needs to be easily digestible, and also it needs to have water content. Well, if it's going to have water content, I like for it to have some fiber content as well. Okay. Now, yes, I do juice, right? However, you have different types of fiber. Okay, so when we think about fiber, most people think about the insoluble fiber, the fiber that cannot be dissolved in water. Most people, when they think about fiber, that's what they're thinking about, which is the roughage, right? And so that when you're thinking about that, you're looking at mainly your greens and things like that. But there are tons and tons of different types of fibers. Fibers are carbohydrates, okay? They're indigestible carbohydrates. And you have all sorts of different indigestible carbohydrates. So when I am juicing, I just want to touch on this because I've gotten this before. Like, oh, but you juice and you said fiber is important. There's fiber in the juice, okay? There's fiber in the juice. There are soluble fibers in the juice, and these soluble fibers are feeding your microbiome, okay? That's why the fiber is important to me, okay? The fiber is important to me because I want to be able to feed those good little guys that are going to keep me young, and they're going to keep my colon healthy. So fiber is important to me, okay? So the first thing is the food easily digestible? Do I have to cook it to eat it? If I have to cook it to eat it, that translates as it's not really easily digestible, meaning I'm not physiologically equipped to handle that food. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is, does it have the water content that I need to keep me hydrated so that I don't steal water from other organs and other parts of the body in order to be able to handle the digestive process? That's number 2. And number 3 is, does it have fiber in it? Because the fiber, everything I eat, I want to not just feed myself, but I need to feed my good guys in my gut as well, because they are helping me out. We are a team, me and my microbiome. We work together. Okay. So that's how I prioritize my food choices in order to stay skinny on carbs. Because remember, everything I just said to you in terms of those food choices, they point to plant foods, they point to carbohydrate rich foods, and all of those types of foods are going to keep you nice and skinny. Okay. All right. So that's how I do it. I hope you guys found something useful in this video. If you did, like and subscribe. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Keep moving. Don't dislike. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. All right. And share this video with somebody that you think needs to hear it. All right. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye.